Velkommen og god dag alle sammen. Welcome back to the channel where we use actual historical sources to look at pre-Christian Norse magic and religion. If you guys are like me, you are just sick and tired of people making up stuff about the Vikings and the pre-Christian Norse and pulling theories from who knows where, and you're just as tired of it as I am. So on this channel, we speak about things that have actual sources in the ancient texts, archaeological finds, and different kinds of evidence. Yes, we develop some theories of our own here and use other people's theories, scholarly theories as well, but they're always based on facts and what we know from the actual ancient sources. So today we are speaking about rune magic and how the Icelandic magical staves could possibly be a continuation and an evolution of rune magic, actually. So there's no way to know for sure, but we're going to look at this and see about the possibilities. Now, we all know about these Icelandic magical staves, Ægishjálmur, Veivisir, and other things like that, but these were all first recorded many hundreds of years after the Viking Age and official Christianization of Iceland. And I see modern pagans and Norse fans and historians, they want to get these tattoos and or use these symbols or just something like that. They want to use these symbols, and there's just an endless stream of haters out there commenting on this, and they're saying, these Icelandic magical staves are not Viking and pagan. Iceland became Christian in the year 1000, and anything after that is Christian. Well, shut the hell up. If you think Scandinavia became Christian in the year 1000, you are out of your damn mind. The king may have accepted Christianity at that time in the different countries, but we have thousands and thousands of sources to show that pagan traditions continued a long, long time after that. Many hundreds of years, and some pagan traditions never died out. We're still doing some today, actually. So pagan magic is another thing that continued to live on long after the official Christianization. Yes, it's true. Many of the spells and magical staves that we find in the magic books in Scandinavia and Iceland are clearly Christian. That's true. Here's the most famous spell book that most of you might have heard of. It's called Galdrabók, which was written starting in about the 1500s. And in here we see a couple symbols like this one here. And another one like the Satyr Square. This is a very famous one. So these two clearly Christian. The Satyr Square comes from the Christian magic tradition around the Mediterranean. So we're for sure some of these magic books have Christian symbols. However, there are a lot of things that show clear pagan origin. The expert and the translator of this Galdrabók here into English, his name is Stephen Flowers, and he shows how I think at least half of them he attributes to having pagan origin, and we're going to look at some of these now, these magical staves that you've all probably seen before. But first, it's important that we understand how rune magic was practiced in pagan times. Now, there are a lot of ways that this could have been done, and we have lots of good theories and even some texts in the Eddas that kind of give suggestions and hints as to how to practice rune magic. But we have actually a few existing examples of rune magic from the sources and their amulets. So let's look at them here. One is the Lindholm amulet, and that's inscribed with these letters here, Asenbmut. Next one, we have Vadstena Brakteet. That one says Tua Tua. And another one here, we have the Undli Brakteet. That one says Gagoga. Now, this is not any language, so the scholars and experts agree that when looking at these, they were inscribed like this for some sort of magical purpose. So it seems that carving runes for magic would be in the form of this gibberish. It was not letters in any coherent words or sentences. It was letters together in a random way that played some sort of magical role. And bind runes would have been the same. And I've gone over this because there are many magical staves that come from later on in time that we're going to look at now that have clearly runes and were perhaps just an evolution of these amulets used for the same purpose. So let's look at some of these magical staves. Starting off, let's take one that you all know. This is Aegis Hjálmur. Most of you have seen that, the Helm of Awe is what it's translated to. The first real record of this symbol is in the Huld manuscript, but we know it's much, much older than this, and it's even referred to back in the Poetic Edda from the Viking Age, and Volsunga Saga and Fafnismal. Also, I think they're both refer to the same thing. But let's just take a look and see what runes we can find in Aegis Hjálmur here. Now, in rune magic, we really should be looking for the younger Futhark. I'll just make that point first, because I know most of you probably love the elder Futhark, and that's the one you look at more often. But the elder Futhark was really not used after about the 600s. It started to slowly fade out, so we have no record of it being used in the Viking Age. Only record of it is in the Bronze Age and early Iron Age and things like that. So we really should be focusing more on the younger Futhark. So, outside on the edges here, we find the Maður rune. We can say probably at all 8 points here. Could also argue that it's the Yr rune, 8 times going all around. But maybe if we're just looking at it as it stands, without flipping it upside down and anything like that, it could be 4 of each. It could be 4 Maður runes, 4 Yr runes. If you really want to, we could even argue that these are not Maður or Yr runes at all, but it could all be the Kaun rune going around and going in both directions. So it could be 16 Kaun runes total. Then what else do we see? What other parts of this can we see? Well, there's at least one Hagal that we see here. Possibly 2 if we look at it vertically and horizontally, but depending on how you look at it, if you want to look at it in every instance there, it could be as much as 8 of them overlapped on each other. But for the sake of it, let's just say 2. We're going to add all these up and look at them at the end. So what else? We probably have the Tyr rune at least twice, like you can see here, but maybe as much as 8 times. You could also look at this and say it's maybe the Lögr rune, and even reversed 16 times if you want to have it like that. Also, finally, we have all these straight little lines all over. Maybe they could be Isa runes, maybe not, but for the fun of it, we'll just put them in there as well. So that's about it. Here are all the runes that we can see. I just took the smallest number. I could have put a lot more in there that we went over, but I just took the smallest one just to make it a bit more realistic. So we have all these, and let's see if we can create some text out of these that would resemble one of the old rune amulets for magic. Here we go. There's a few options there. Me 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 ye 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 ti 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 e me me me. Ki il. So as you can see here, just doing this for fun, just to show how Aegis Hjálmur could have evolved from this early rune amulet gibberish magic. Maybe it was one of these things that, like I said, there's no way to know for sure, but maybe it was one of these texts that you see here that they would have carved out on a rune amulet before, but they decided, hey, you know what, I don't want to write all this stuff out anymore. Let's make it into one symbol. And that's how Aegis Hjálmur was born. But there's way too many options, and this one is a very complicated symbol. So next I'm going to show you onto another magical stave that we find in the Icelandic magic books. And that's actually an earlier version of Aegis Hjálmur. Most of the Aegis Hjálmur that you know is the one that I just showed you, which is from the Huld manuscript, written in the 1800s, but thought to be a little bit older than that, 1700s. But there is an earlier form in the Galdra book, which first started to be written in the 1500s. So it looks like this. And in here, it was used to get a girl to fall in love with you. You would spit in your finger, and then you'd draw this symbol on your right hand and give a handshake to a girl, and that was believed to make her fall in love with you. So let's look at the runes that we have maybe in here. Again, it has the Yr and the Maður runes for sure. Probably 2 of each, but maybe 4. right there. Also, the middle line on this seems to be a bit slanted, so it could meant to be the Ar rune. Could be two of them if you want to read it upside down as well. Also could possibly be 4 Kaun runes or 4 Tyr runes, if you want to look at it like that as well. Just options. I'm doing this just for fun. That's about it. Here's again like a few things that that we could develop out of this. Mama yeet, kiki ta. And you see some of these here. Like I said, there's no way to be sure. We're not trying to reconstruct any magic here. I'm just trying to trying to show you how, some of these magical staves could have been earlier gibberish runic inscriptions, exactly like we find on some of these amulets, but they just combined it into one symbol, and this is what these magical staves are. I'll show one more in this video before I finish. I don't want to make it too long, but this is spell number 19 in the Galdra book. So these here, you were supposed to carve these staves and keep them on you, and enemies will fear you. So I think all of these are clearly runes besides one or two. Here, first one, we see the Mother. The second one is the experts believe to be Sol. Number 3 there is Hagal. 4 is Kaun. 5 is Yr. 6, that's probably a less familiar one that you all may not have heard of, but that's the Tyr rune. It's called the dotted Tyr rune, and it was used a bit later on in time after the Viking Age. Number 7, that one is unclear. Not quite sure. Number 8 is the Ar rune. Number 9 is unclear as well, but there are some people who think that these unclear symbols are just meant to be a break in the inscription, a little space. Also, like we see in some of the amulets, there was some gibberish text, then a little space, and then some more gibberish text, just like the Lindholm amulet and some others that we can find as well. And number 10 and 11, these are probably bind runes of Mother and Yr together, or possibly just 4 Mother runes. So if we take all of those runes, this is what it would have looked like. Mishkita Mimi. Yeah, that's what it is, like total gibberish. But you can see how it has kind of the same format as these much older amulets from pagan times, even before the Viking Age. Some of these were found. I think the earliest ones were found in like the 300s, and we have dozens of these amulets that most scholars believe were used because they were believed to have some magic purpose. So this spell here, this magical stave, it's easy to see that this one probably had a very good chance of being used in ancient pagan times on an amulet or something like that to be kept around the neck that we see. And these are just a few of the magical staves I've went over in this video, but there are hundreds more. The point of this video was not to recreate pagan magic. Like I said, I'll look at more staves later on and try and create it in other videos, but just be sure this is just speculation and theory. There's no way to be 100% sure of this, and anyone tells you that it is 100% sure that this kind of magic was used in pagan times is a liar. No, it's just speculation, but the best we can do is come up with some very interesting theories and speculations based on solid historical evidence. That's what I was trying to do in this video. The point was just to look at the actual sources and show you that pagan rune magic probably continued a long time after the official Christianization. And the Icelandic magical staves were just an evolution of this rune magic. The staves were not something different that was invented later on in time. It was an evolution of the rune magic that had been practiced already for more than 1,000 years. Yes, it's true that many of the staves from these magic books are for sure Christian or Jewish origin, but not all of them, okay? I want that to be very clear, not all of them. We have to look at each one individually, and when we do that, we can see that many of these staves and other magic spells have pagan origin. The magic books that we find in Iceland and Scandinavia would have some Christian magic, some Jewish magic, some pagan magic, okay? And they were all together in one book, okay? But we have to look at each one individually, and we can't just dismiss them all as Christian. I think many of them, no, not even think, that I know for sure that many of these spells in the magic books have pagan origin, and a lot of these staves, we can say, have that too. So my real point of this video, just to finish, is to tell the doubters and the haters to shut their mouths. If you see a stave and you like it, and you have good reason to think that it was a pagan original, then don't let anyone tell you that you can't use it or get it tattooed on your body. That's my whole point why I wanted to make this video. So I hope that helps, looking at taking a little bit of an academic approach here, but also speaking about some theory. But anyway, we'll finish this video and we'll look at some more later on. Vi ses nästa gång.